Hello, this is a Plat 3 Winston Bob review, and the post on this one said their attack wasn't getting anything going, and then they were told to swap off. So we'll go through the attack. I did fast forward through it once already.
Ready for battle.
I feel a little bad. We're about to ruin their day.
And what I noticed a lot about this team is they just have tons of long-range damage. They've got Domina, they've got Ashe, they've got Iliari, so just tons of long-range damage, which is still good for Winston if he can get in on those people. Freya is the only one that has mobility and dump truck damage, but everyone else has a sort of weakness where if you get in on them, you can kill them. But it's going to be way harder than that because these guys are aggressively holding all these lanes, so we're just going to... Poke damage is going to be a constant issue all game. But this is fine, they back up a little, we can take right side, so it's gonna go well the first time, at least to here. Domina's barrier's coming down. And then this jump is great, getting up here, zapping down on them, it's gonna force them back. So it's going great. That bubble just wasn't necessary, and the reason why is because we can just use the high ground as cover. Try and think, okay, if I don't want them to see me, I'll just back up to here, and then stay on the right side so my supports can see me. And maybe Lifeweaver chips us a little, but we just don't need the bubble. And fast forwarding through the defense, there was a time we jumped after this pillar when we didn't have our bubble, while people were shooting us. So sometimes we just, ooh, a pillar. But we do not want to be Street Winston, if we can help it. Because now we've got to wait for another bubble, and it's unfortunate our Sombra gets headshot. We are going to get here eventually just without our bubble, so it's going to... But this is a great second spot. Usually this map just plays here to here, is how you can play it. We just don't have our bubble. And I think you can actually just be patient because our Bastion's kind of getting healed, but... I think you should just keep going. Don't be allergic to playing on the flank. We can kill this Lifeweaver. If he leaves, we can kill the Ashe. Don't be afraid to jump on 2 low damage targets with your bubble. I just feel like we felt pressured to help the Bastion when... Be greedy, to get the kills and then get out to here. And then you can kind of help your team from there with the Domina. But you just gotta... finish the job and actually get the backline pressure. And then we got a lever, so I'll skip most of this. Wait for the lever to come back. And there's really no reason to even send this jump. We can just break these bubbles. It's really not a time to be going in. Your team is definitely not thinking about going in, so I feel like you just need to be patient here. More Street Winston. So, yeah, with the teams who's just trying to live, by the way. So there's not going to be any help. But we got our teammate back now. And we all get picked, so that's fine. The one thing we could have done is if we were more heads up and we hear the Freya pop up, we can just hide here. And that way we don't have to use the bubble. But the team got picked anyway. And yeah, you can't carelessly, like, they're playing long-range heroes. So we're going to go over once we respawn. Sometimes you just need to swallow your pride if everyone's playing Shoot the Winston with long-range characters. You might have to do setup jumps you haven't even considered before. You have to do, basically, you want to get here, but you have to do setup for the setup. And you might have to jump here, and then jump up here and hold left and curve it in. You might have to just jump here and walk through here, and then send a jump on the Iliari, maybe even try and trap them in. Is another way to do it. You can even jump here and walk through, and you're just zapping them to annoy them, get them to stop focusing on your team, and then you grab the Mega and you might just circle out from there. But those are all the things that get you in close, because I remember it was on this exact map that I was getting just wrecked by great aimers who were doing this, and I eventually was kind of able to salvage it by coming up with these ideas in real time, but usually you don't have to do any of this, you just get here for free, but they're not letting you, so. And just more ults. And you can use all this downtime I mentioned to do one of these plays, by the way. Because if we're just going to walk here and then jump in again, it's kind of like we had time to do better, but... Luckily, bubble was alright, I guess. And I don't, taking damage sometimes makes us make bad decisions just in general. I'm Winston, but you can't, there was really no point to this jump. It should be the same plan, here to here or here to here. We're making tiny little jumps into the middle of the street, so at this point we might as well be playing Reinhardt, Ramatra, Orisa. If we're gonna do this, we've got to actually use Winston's advantages, which you said you have a lot of hours on Winston. I know you probably have other games where you do it. It's just, you're getting thrown off your game by how much damage you're taking to the face every time you try and move is what's doing it for you. But that's when you just need to relax, get healed, and then send a safe jump up here, and just same plan.
Numbered. Take caution.
And notice where this comes from. I'm like, when I was just fast forwarding, I'm like, how'd they die that fast? And she took the good spot. So that's the other reason why you want to get here, is it denies it to the other teams. So Street Winston not working out. And our team was telling us swap, and then the post mentioned, but I had ult. Which I totally agree. The ult is really good. I'd rather be Winston with ult than go something like Sigma now, which Sigma can be great too when people are just sitting in this mob. Sigma and even Domina can just pump out so much spam damage that they have to back up. And you're controlling them with spam damage instead of going in. But the ult can work. I just don't like what we're gonna do. So even like a few steps forward would help. The same options I mentioned here to here would be great. We're just gonna jump straight into Ash Coach Gun. So maybe a little more walking and then a little higher jump might have helped you avoid the Coach Gun, but it's the same thing. If they're holding this area really aggressively, you're just gonna have to take a side route. Because what we don't want is to take so much damage before we even get in that we just have to use ult to brute force and go up the middle. Or ult super early, because that's the idea of poking the walk up is, ooh, if we shoot them early, we can force all their abilities, and then they got nothing left by the time we get here. So that's why it's a thing to sort of, kind of like Mexican boxing, you're just jabbing them all the way in, and then as other person comes in, then you back up. That's what they're doing. And it's working because you just go straight up the middle and walk into the jab, so. Because we're gonna almost die. And we do not want to ult here. We want to get a good dive and then use ult to extend it, so. And this is kind of like, same thing, we can just relax, shoot the barriers off. Our team's not really thinking about going in. We're not fully healed. And it's sort of just hasty and using ult to live. It's not let me send this really good dive and I force 4 people's attention and then I keep going with my ult. It's just sort of, I'm using ult just to live. And then we're going to try and make the most of this, but the primally mechanics.
My soul ignited.
Let's go back, sorry. So we go in with the chip damage and our teammates barriered, and then we land, and it's a thing once you land on them to ult, and then you hit her this way, and then you jump and hit her with the 1-2. So that's sort of the combo, is land, hit, jump after them, and hit them with the 1-2 combo. But we're kind of going to do it late and bubble. We just miss. So swing and a miss. Freya's probably not the target, just too much mobility. And then we are gonna get a hit. And we're just gonna sail it, so... The first time we swung at people, we looked at the ground, so I think we know that you have to look down. Almost like you're sweeping the floor while you go forward. You just really need to be looking down, because sometimes you hit a small obstacle and it floats you and you just completely miss someone when you're primaling as Winston. Just people in general when they primal. So you really need to look down. It's pretty bad to miss that swing on Ashe. So yeah, this is pretty much gonna be it. And the Ashe is still hammering her team, so I think it's another case of you might as well just stay on her. It would help if a better bubble blocks the healing, so she can't get healed by this Lifeweaver, but I think you could still just stay on these guys. But that's all she wrote for defense, or for attack. So it's really just more setup. Don't let the fact that you're taking poke damage make you do something hasty like jump up the middle of the street and bubble, because then you're not using Winston's strength. So it's more setup, get healed, be patient, and still do what you need to do to eventually surround them and get a flank off. And the one time we did, we felt like we had to go back to the Domina. So just trust yourself, be willing to play on the edges more, even when you're taking poke damage and under some pressure. So good luck.